The views and opinions expressed by the guests and others do not reflect the broadcast of Nick at Night or those associated with this brand. Nick at Night does not condone the overindulgence of alcoholic beverages, nor do we support drinking and driving. Please drink responsibly. Hey y'all, welcome back to Nick at Night. I am your girl, Miss Nick.
It's your boy P, King to a God. Nick, what's good?
Nothing much. It's March.
It is March.
My
Happy
birthday-
Women's Month.
My birthday is next month.
I know we got to talk about some things too.
We do?
Yeah, we do. But I mean, that's off mic. Yeah, that's off mic. We'll talk about some things.
Yeah, birthday coming up. We taking a trip to Thailand.
Yeah.
So
should
I'm
be
in
nice.
in the process of finalizing some things, some plans there, and it's just like shit. Life is just like, hey, what you doing sitting there? You got shit to do.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so I'm excited about that. The countdown is on to 50.
Nice. How you feeling?
Yeah, 50 is
Yeah.
making this presence
Get
be
your fucking
felt.
AARP card. Yes, indeed. Let's go.
This knee been bothering me all week
You gotta
because
get
I
a
was trying to do the
brace.
percolator.
Just know when you hit that 5.0 mark,
I know.
that check engine light go
Check
come on.
engine, yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna welcome our guests.
Yeah.
We got Teresa.
Teresa Love, hello. How are you? Glad to be here.
Glad you here with
Welcome.
us. And we got JK,
Pastor.
the pastor. They
My
did
man.
used to call you the pastor, Lord.
Just call me the pastor.
You preaching?
Look here.
So y'all have heard me tell the story about how I got into podcasting. Well, this is the culprit right here. This is the one that got me into it. And you know what? You started something.
Apparently so.
Because
Here
that
we
was
are.
years. How many years ago was that? That was a while. It was before
That was
COVID.
Wow. It was
wow.
way before COVID.
Way before COVID.
It had to been like maybe 15, 16.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
Yeah.
it that long ago?
Yeah, because
Yes.
you know what? I started doing T-shirts around that time. And
Yep.
when I remember I was delivering a T-shirt order and we just sitting talking. And so he was like, well, how do you feel about, I'm looking for a co-host on my
Yeah.
show. How do you feel about it? And I was like, talk on camera in front of people? No. And so he was like, well, you've been doing it for the past hour. I said, I know you lying. I'm like, you been recording this? He was just playing with me.
Yeah.
But he was just showing me how easy it actually was. And it was just like, that's my friend, right? So I'm like, okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not talk.
She
didn't
was
talk.
For a
silent.
long time. She would sit back there in the cut and just be
She
cute.
wouldn't talk.
She'd be very stoic.
I was like, yeah, yep, I
This would be her
agree.
right here.
Are you serious?
That shit is funny.
That's hilarious.
That shit is
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It took her a long time to talk. She was like, but I don't want to say nothing.
And look at her now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. Right.
And then branched off and did a show by my damn self.
Mm-hmm.
Where
She
I
got
was
your
the host and
Yeah.
and so even with that, a friend of mine was like, why don't you just do it yourself?
Mhm.
I was like, by myself?
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I guess I could. I don't never too much back down from a challenge. And then started doing that shit and was having a ball. And now here we go, Nick
Yeah.
at Night 2.0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great story.
Yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, this has been an evolving
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. I'm proud to be
So,
a part
yeah,
of it. Happy
yeah,
to be a part
yeah.
of it.
So, okay, now before I get started, because I get the rambling on and shit, I want y'all to go out there and follow me on social media. I am at Miss Nick at Night. It's like a tongue twister. MZNIKATNITE on pretty much all platforms. P, where can they find you?
The real P.I.G, Lemonade, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay. Teresa and JK, y'all want to be found on social media or y'all want to stay?
You can find me on social media, Teresa Love, on all platforms. I think most of the time it's like MZ Teresa Love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you, JK?
All you have to do is put in JK, but for the most part, no, you don't have to find me on social media.
I love my
Boy
guests that
said
like
for
to
the
be
most
incognito.
part.
They be like,
No,
hey,
you ain't got to
You ain't
find.
got
Yeah,
to find me.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on here, but
Yeah.
good luck. You better match the picture with what you see right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Look at that. That's it.
Right.
Also, go out there and join the group, Nick at Night, the after party. We discuss topics. Sometimes we get topics from that group that we want to discuss on the show. And I want to bring back the Ask Miss Nick segment too.
Yeah, I've been trying to gaslight people.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I just throw random shit in there. Like,
He do.
here
He
you
do.
go.
He do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah,
I do want to
this.
bring back the Ask Miss Nick segment because I want it to be a little bit more interactive. I want to interact with y'all. So, I'm going to start back with the Ask Miss Nick. We're going to have some questions for P in there too.
No, you
And
don't.
that used to be a very interesting segment though.
That's how I heard about you
Yeah.
from that segment.
Oh, really?
Ask Miss Nick.
That's how I heard
yeah,
about her.
that used to be
Listen,
a very
they would, go,
interesting.
they would go on and on about,
Yes,
this was the question and this is what I said. I was
Yeah,
like, okay, you
yeah.
really into
We used
that.
to have some crazy ass questions,
And they love
like-
that.
What was the
Yeah.
best question? Or the most memorable question?
Most times I was drinking, and that was at the end of the show. And sometimes some shows used to be like 2 hours long.
Mhm.
But I remember something, so I can't remember specifically, but I remember something where it was like some family type shit where the daughter was sleeping with the stepfather or some shit.
Oh, wow.
But I also remember another one where the lady had a kid by this guy. They were married, said happily married, had kids. She found out he had an outside baby.
Mm.
And so the baby mama wanted to move out of the country. And the outside baby, he was like, no, you're not taking my kid with me. So there was that dilemma of she didn't want that kid living with them. And I think it was something like he was contemplating leaving with the baby mama.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess. So it was a bunch of,
Yeah.
it was some shit.
Yeah.
I used to be like, ugh. And then again, like I said, I had been drinking. So, of course, my responses was raw and uncut. Need to leave that nigga alone.
Yeah. And that's why I couldn't do it because my tolerance low. My tolerance is real low for bullshit. So,
So, I do want to bring that back because, that was a good time. And then, again, it makes us interact with y'all more. And I like really miss interacting with y'all.
And people like that. 'Cause that's how I heard about you.
Yeah.
People love the interaction.
Yeah.
They love
Yeah.
hearing and
Yeah.
having those topics and going on
Yeah.
and on. I'm like, okay, so we're going to sit here and talk about this topic all night. Okay.
you was there
Yeah.
for it?
I was there for it. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into today's topic.
Okay.
Today's topic. I have been looking and listening and, learning. And apparently there are a lot of people, especially I would say 30 and under, they don't believe in marriage. They believe in being in these committed relationships. They just don't think that marriage is necessary. And I've also heard 50 and over, most of those people, though, that I hear say that, they have been married before. And so they just don't want to do it again. But someone like me who have never been married, I still believe in marriage.
Right.
So I just want to, what do y'all think? Like, what are the pros and cons of marriage? Do you think, I'm always baffled when I hear people are in a relationship for 10 plus years. They live together. They're doing everything as if they are married. Then they actually get married and the shit don't last, not even a year.
Right.
Like, what is it? Is it the title that causes an issue? Is it what is the stigma about marriage?
So for myself, right? I really can't really answer the question. What would be the stigmatism behind getting married versus being together for a long amount of time because of that piece of paper? But for myself, I was married for like 16 years, right? Would I do it again? I still battle with it, right?
Okay.
Because I think that at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. I think the relationship in itself should be more glorified than just a piece of paper,
Okay.
right?
Okay. And I'm gonna go deeper into that, but go ahead.
Okay. Now, my ideology behind getting married in the beginning was something because I had never seen marriage, right? The only marriage I ever seen was the Cosby Show,
Okay.
right? And so when my wife and I, or ex-wife, got married, I was under pretenses that it was going to be like the Cosby Show, right? Lo and behold, was I wrong?
Right.
So this ain't how they
Yeah.
did it on TV.
Not like
This ain't it
not
either
like
at all.
TV.
But I think because I got married like around age of 28, 29, right?
Okay.
And so everything for me was like a little bit later. And I think in the marriage, it kind of more or less brought out a lot of trauma, childhood trauma
Your side or her side?
for me,
Okay.
right? My ex-wife was from Liberia, so she had a culture,
Yeah.
right? Me, I had the streets. Right. So when you try to combine the two, a culture versus the streets, you know, you try to commingle them together, you know, there's always going to
Yeah.
be some type of
Yeah.
adversity, right?
That's deep.
But what ended up happening was that I got married for the wrong reasons, right? For me, right? Because I felt like I wanted something new, something different. And the only reason why we got married from my perspective was because she was beautiful and she kept her word. Now imagine going 28 years of your life and no one has ever kept their word until
Yeah.
someone comes along and say, hey, if they're going to do something, they did it. It becomes a mind shocking type of situation. Like, damn, I think
Yeah.
I love her. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And it's
And
not
that was
like,
at 28, you said?
that was at 28.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that same thing because when I got married, it was 27, 28. And shit, mine was simple and childish, right? I'll be honest. So one of my things was because she had already had 2 kids, as long as you're willing to have one more child, right? And in my mind, she proposed. Now she'll tell you she didn't propose, but shit, we used her grandmother's ring.
Okay.
It wasn't that much work on my side, you know what I'm saying? So young and immature from the streets. Shit, my clan, this
Yeah.
chick, she asked me to
Yeah.
marry her. Now, what her reasons were at that time, I don't know. Shit, I was a good dude overall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She had 2 other kids. I fit a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at it, right? I hope you raised your 2 kids. We had one. We good. What we lacked at was communication.
Mm-hmm.
And my personality at the time was very laid back. Like I'm still laid back. You know that. Very nonchalant. It take a lot to move me. You know, I lost my parents when I was 12 and 15. So shit got to really be fucked up
Yeah.
for you to get emotions out of me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll get over that shit.
Yeah.
Care what you dealing with. Shit, the world ain't ending.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that thing. So with me, would I do it again? Yes, definitely would do it again. But I've learned from my mistakes in that time frame. Like
Yeah.
my marriage lasted 9 years. How long was yours?
16.
Oh, you did say that. It's a
16.
long fucking time.
I
bro.
did a 16-year bit.
See, my shit was rocky along the way. And I read up about alimony and shit, and I know you had to get out by 10. So I got out.
Oh.
2 words, I'm gone. Yeah.
Wow.
But see, for my situation, right, my ex-wife was a virgin. So we didn't even have sex until she got married. Once again, that's that culture,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And so I didn't mind waiting because shit out there, shit.
You still gonna get yours? Go ahead and say it.
Like outside, still outside.
Yeah, she a
outside,
virgin.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So
But
I didn't
still
mind
get
waiting, but it was just
You didn't mind
for me-
waiting?
right? I didn't mind waiting
Because
because
you didn't wait.
well, no, I waited.
For her.
Right, I waited because what happened was that once again, I'm all about what do you call it? Like self thought processing, right? And I kind of felt like usually before I ran into that, the best makeup would be sex makeup, right? But in our situation, I'm like, it won't be the sex that's going to be the best makeup. It's going to be the conversation,
Yeah.
the healing, right?
Right.
And that right there is part. I was like, man, shit, I already did it over here. So let me see what's over here. It still turned out the same though, right?
Yeah.
Still a divorce.
So
Well, there's other things. I mean, and you don't have to. It's your life. You don't have to unravel everything. But there's in 16 years, that's a lot. In 9 years
lot.
for me, there was a lot. You know, in that 9 years after it was over, shit, I had to go back to therapy because I had done so many compromising things where I had to refine myself, redevelop myself back to who I am truly at my core. Because in a marriage, I thought the only way to make it work was to bend on some things. You know what I'm saying?
People do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're right. I lost myself too. And I made a vow to make sure that I would never put myself in a situation where I lose so much of myself trying to appease her.
Yeah.
I would never do that again.
Yeah.
That's so easy to do.
Is that a part of marriage, though?
I think so. I think it becomes inevitable,
Yeah.
right? It's that sense of compromising, right? Not that you're not supposed to compromise, but I think.
But are losing yourself?
Well, Teresa, what's your status?
That's what I was about to jump in. I'm like, it's my turn, folks.
What's your bit?
Well, I know, right? And I've done a bit. You're 16 years. I've been married for 30 years in October.
Congratulations.
And our marriage has changed over time, you know, from where it started, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years, 20 years, 25. It has constantly changed.
Yeah.
I changed. He changed. Yeah. And at many points in time, we thought we would break up because whenever he's changing or I'm changing, if we don't get on the same page, we're going to go like this. So one of the things that we said years and years ago was like, look, man, we're in this together. Like if you change one day and you don't like me, or I change one day, you don't like me, you go on this side of the house and I go on this side of the house, and we'll just live. Yeah. Instead of breaking up our home and our children, our grandkids, we never wanted to do that. Yeah. So we did that a few times. We had to go on opposite ends of the house for a little bit and get ourselves together. But like you guys said, you lose yourself because I changed and he did too. And when we had those really uncomfortable conversations, I could see how many folks would divorce because they were very uncomfortable. You're putting your desires, you're putting your wants on the table, and sometimes they don't match your partner. And he could have left, I could have left. We're still here, but it's more than a notion.
I think that's really what it is. Like, in my search to do it again, one of the main things is the woman has to be able to have uncomfortable conversations. And be able to get through that pathway, and we still be all right. You know what I mean? And also, I have to understand the uncomfortable conversations coming from her. You know what I mean? You're not always going to be on the same page, like you mentioned. I learned that later. But it's being able to have conversations, being able to talk, being able to see the person's point of view. You know, before I wasn't trying to see that point of view. It's like, man, that's some bullshit.
We were young. Of course, like, you don't know, like, I got to really sit here and work this out with you. Who knew how to do that? Like you said, our example was the Cosby Show. Like, I had no clue, but I did know that I was committed to this relationship, and I knew I was committed to my family, and I really wanted to work it out, and he did too. He's a family oriented person. So his family is everything to him. So he wanted to work it out too. And I think that said a lot for why we're 30 years in.
So would you say you guys had a lot of core values
in
the beginning that kind of helped sustain the 30-year run that you've been on?
We developed core values together.
Okay.
Because he had core values coming in. He came from, a nice family, and I didn't like that. So I had to develop mine, and he helped me develop core values. So it took us some time to do that, but initially we did, and so that really did help us. Now, I'm just going to be transparent here too before I say all of this, but through that 10, 15, 20 years, through all those rough patches, one of the uncomfortable conversations we had was that I wanted to open the relationship. I didn't want to be monogamous, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was not him, it was me. And that's when it's like, when we said high risk earlier, that was a high risk conversation because he could have just packed up and said, I didn't sign up for this. And I thought he would, but I also was like, I'm not going to hold you hostage with my lie. So I love you. It's not you. I love you. So we had that and it was kind of rocky. but we're still here.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. In that venture of being able to realize that monogamy wasn't for you, was that in the early stages of your marriage, or did it eventually become?
About 15 years in. I mean, I wasn't, when we first married, I always had 3 boyfriends from when I was 8th grade on. And so, but I didn't want to do that because that's not conventional.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know eventually I'm going to get married. I'm going to settle down. I'm going to leave all of them alone, break up with you. I'm going to break up with you and I'm getting married. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I did that. And for 15 years, I was monogamous. And after about 10 years, I'm like, this is not me.
So, Teresa, how old were you when you got married?
I was 25.
Okay. So still right around the same ballpark as...
Yeah, I was young.
Rest of us, yeah.
Well, yeah, I was about 24, 25,
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So I was young. So yeah, 10, 15 years later go by, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So you mean...
And see, that's
you're the only person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life till I die?
Yeah. So, and like for me, right, like I said, I've never been married, never lived with a man, right? And so when I think about marriage, it's not, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, this is the person I'm going to be with the rest of my fucking life. Like, I got to make sure this shit is actually what I want. I've been engaged twice and was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that is not, one of my ex called it a healthy fear of marriage. And I like that term because it's not that I'm scared of marriage. I want to be married.
Right.
I'm scared of making a bad fucking choice
Let me
and
ask you
being
this.
like, God damn.
Would you...
But that's a big one.
Yeah, it is. In your process, though, right? Have you ever thought about the man you marry? Would he have been married before, or has he never been married as well?
I've thought about that.
Because
Right.
that's a lot, too.
Yeah. So I feel like there's pros and cons to both. Because I feel like if he has not been married before, he doesn't have that experience. However, we gonna figure it out together. You know what I mean? And what works for us will work for us. But if he has been married before, he has the experience of being in a marriage, knowing what knowing what these pitfalls look like, and knowing that, yeah, we in a hard spot right now, but we'll get through this shit, versus this one who's never been married and he's just accustomed to breaking up like I am. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it. We'll go our separate ways. So I have thought about that, and I feel like there's pros and cons to both.
Okay.
But that's just one of my, it's just like, it should give me anxiety a little bit. Like, oh, shit, that's this the rest of my life. And if I don't like this shit, I'm going to be ready to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I remember having a conversation with my mother. And you're a Taurus like me. And, when we get pissed off, we don't want, leave me the fuck alone, right?
Who's a Taurus?
100.
Me
Them
and
too.
him. And it's just, I used to ask my mother, like, how do you deal with when y'all get into an argument and y'all still go to bed together? Because I'm like, motherfucker, get away from me right now. I don't want you around me right now. Like, you know what I mean? Depending on how pissed off I am.
don't know what you mean.
He know. He understand.
Yeah, believe me.
They be like, if you don't get your ass away from me, no. Do not touch me. I really don't even want to be in the same house with you right now, let alone in the same room, in the same bed. And she said, you get over that. Like, you have to actively work on that to get over that. And I'm like, ooh.
You do.
And that's the compromise. I think that took place between me and my ex-wife, right? It was a lot of compromising. Now, a lot of times there's this old adage that says opposites attract. I think that's a whole bunch of bullshit, right? Because me and my ex-wife, we were exactly opposite, right? But it's more or less trying to find that sense of commonality, right? And so at the time, I was heavily involved into the church. I had just started getting involved into the church. But when a certain point in my life got to a place where I walked away from the church, me and my ex-wife didn't have anything else in common, right? We'd have nothing in common. Only thing we had in common was just the kids, right? So it wasn't nothing that was able to sustain us for the long haul. But also, too, I'm realizing, too, in relationships that I think, which I wanted to ask you, Teresa, is that do you think that your marriage lasted as long as it did because you all did not try to change each other?
Oh, I think that's a major part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a major part of it. Had he made any decisions, differently and said, no, Teresa, I need for you to do this, 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 and this. I mean, and
You'd have
vice
been like,
versa. And if I would have told him, no, I need for you to be on board with this, I want to, I don't want to be monogamous. If I would have forced any of this, he would have pushed back.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, I think that's like the downfall for a lot of our relationships is that we always go in with the intent of trying to change them to make them somebody who we think that's going to fit us.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Bad move.
bad move.
Bad move. Because
But I
even
think
if
you
they
said
change
something.
temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
they gonna resort back to their
Resort.
original fucking self.
And
Exactly.
You know
even
what
if
I
they
mean?
don't resort back, it's gonna be a long term. Often it's a feeling of resentment.
Mm-hmm.
You
Because
know,
again, like you said, I've lost myself. I'm not being me. I'm doing all of this shit to appease this other person, and don't let that other person piss you off. Now it's what the fuck was I doing this for? You
Well,
know what I mean?
Not even just that. I mean, it's so. I'll use myself in a situation because a lot of things I didn't realize till I got out of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you make certain accommodations for the other person, and then now you put yourself out there to ask for an accommodation from them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not
Reciprocated.
reciprocated, then now that's where the resentment starts to come in
Yeah.
at. Like I've went out and I've made this change for you. You can't
Yeah.
make this simple change for me.
Right.
And it shouldn't be tit for tat, but it comes out looking tit for tat.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As much as you
Yeah.
try to avoid it.
It does go out like
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you don't have the conversation like you said you and your husband had, Teresa, then you start putting things on a scale.
Mm-hmm.
Not even intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
but you start weighing out things. You know, and that's where the relationship becomes unhealthy. It's not genuine, right?
Right.
And that's where you start unraveling.
Yeah. Yeah. So do y'all think I saw something and they said, well, they were talking about sex, premarital sex or whatever. And they were saying like with the arranged marriages. So with the arranged marriages, neither party has ever been with someone else. So they don't have anything to rate that person against, right? You can't be like, you're not as good as my ex. I'm used to him tossing me around, and you know what I mean? So you've never had it. They've never had it. And I guess that kind of goes back to the two people not ever being married. But the arranged marriages, do you think that would be a good thing in today's age?
Well, I don't necessarily think that sex is going to be the basis of a marriage, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't even be the basis of a marriage, of any relationship.
Yeah.
Me personally,
Yeah.
I've know,
Oftentimes it's not.
right.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
honestly
After
can
so
say,
many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can even say,
Yeah.
even if you have sex on the first night, I think the people that have sex on the first night last longer than the people who wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, so we can't necessarily base it off of sex.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
The business deal, the business that comes, because just like what we just said, the basis of marriage, it's not sex, right? It has to be, like you said, the moral values, the common moral values to come together. We're gonna make this work. But there's also, like we talk about finances, right? Like this is, so when you mentioned earlier about marriage being just that piece of paper, but it's really like a contract, right?
Oh, it is a contract.
Yeah, it's a contract with this person saying, hey, we gonna do this, you know what I mean? And we locked in with certain values, number one, but yet we also locked in with certain legal aspects of this thing, right?
Mhm.
So do you think that contract is what messes a lot of people up when it comes to, because they say the title, but I don't think it's necessarily the title of you married, but it's that legal binding contract. Do you think that is something? And I don't know why. In my mind, I don't know why
I think
that would fuck it up. But maybe
I
why?
think it's the change of expectations.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to do with the paper. I think the because now you have the paper,
Mm-hmm.
you have changed your expectations of this person.
Okay.
And you didn't have that honest conversation before you guys exchanged vows
Yeah. And
that your expectations was going to change.
see, even like that, for me, because I'm one of them that I am who I am. And when I meet somebody, I expect what I see is who they are, right? And I know that's not always the case.
No.
Right.
But this is how so if I'm interacting with you on a daily basis, this is what I am expecting to see for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm not expecting you to change. I'm not going to change. This is me. You know what I mean? So I can definitely understand. If a person start doing you a whole different person. Hold on, nigga. This ain't what I signed up for. Wait a minute. The fuck? Where this coming from? So I can understand if that happens. But if the two people, like I said, in the situation where you've lived together for 11 years, now the only thing different is you got married. It's legal, and y'all don't make it a year. What happened?
Those expectations. Those expectations, and
Yeah.
you do. When we first married, I had expectations. You were going to take the trash out. You were going to make sure I was safe. You were going to put money in my account. We were going to split things, or you were going to pay for this. I had expectations of how things would be, and then we had to sit down and talk that out, because my expectations, his expectations, they started to clash because we were young. We didn't know what we were doing. So yes, you do. My mom and my dad were married for their whole life. Like when they got married, they never divorced. However, he went here and she went there. They never divorced. They were married on paper, but they were not together. So, I mean, being married on paper is one thing, but when you're with someone, you do have expectations of how things will go.
Yeah.
But I think
Go ahead.
when it comes down to the paper, I think the paper is supposed to be considered as for better or for worse.
Well, it's
Which is like-
symbolic.
It's symbolic for better or for worse, right? But we still, I think that's such a general statement because no one really know what that better or worse means, right?
No, not until it actually
Until-
gets
right.
worse.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When it really gets worse.
Yeah, then it's like, oh shit,
Hindsight.
this is
But
this is that part.
that's when you have to know the moral fabric and compass of a person before you go down that road, right?
Yes.
And I think for me and you, looking back, we probably have a better understanding of what we're looking for if we were to do it again from a morality standpoint. You know what I mean? But you have to have, like, I know how to have better conversations when I'm trying to enter something. You know what I'm saying? I know when the pull back. You guys said you're Tauruses. I'm a Sagittarian. I will. This shit'll be over. You don't even know what happened. This shit will be over.
He's a fire sign.
You don't even know what happened. Listen,
I'm a fire sign too. I'm an Aries, so I can relate.
Yeah, I saw a thing where a guy said, "Hey, Sagittarius, you see the symbol, the arrow always pointing out." Yeah.
Out of there.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think, like I said, so I know a couple of years ago, I knew quite a few people who were in their 40s. They got married at like the age of 18. And I have always said, me personally, I don't agree with that, getting married that young, because you still trying to find yourself, right? And so most of those that I knew that did that were in their 40s, trying to do the shit that they should have did in their 20s. Now they trying to do it in their 40s because they never got a chance to do that shit. That's why I'm like, But now you look at these youngsters and they like, no, I don't believe in marriage. We're not going to, and they're in long-term relationships. But they're like, nah, we're not going to get married. We just, they say they'll have a will or whatever as far as their assets.
Well, I mean, that too, right? Because we got to look at the whole downplay of things, right? So when we look at generations, like you were saying in the song earlier, we come from a certain generation, meaning we came from parents or people in our family who have been married a long time, right? Our children are coming from, for lack of a better phrase, broken homes or single parent homes. They don't know what marriage looks like.
Right.
So why would they want to do that? They've never experienced it. So this is when you got to step into their shoes. If we saw it, they didn't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
They
So
didn't
if
see
you
it.
don't see it, then why the hell would you want to do it?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that's crazy that they're saying.
And I also think too, the reasons for getting married are different. When my grandmother first married, she had to. She couldn't own property. She couldn't get a loan. She couldn't get anything in her name. So my grandmother had to get married. My mom, she got married because that was what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to meet someone, get married, and have me. she didn't want to have me and not be married.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been the greatest thing.
Yeah.
My son is also married, and he has 3 kids because he saw his parents, and so he married young too. Well, maybe a little bit older. Maybe he's like 26, 27, but that's fairly young to get married. Now he has 3 kids, but like you said, he saw his parents, so he was like, I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have kids. But I understand why these kids aren't getting married, because it's different now. You don't have to get married to be in a committed, loving relationship.
And you know the other thing, and that's why I talk about it a lot. Women have to pay alimony too, so it's like shit. Cause with the alimony thing, I can understand what you say is 10 years.
Here it was 10 years.
10 years. So after 10 years, I have to pay you.
Well,
whoever,
yeah,
somebody's paying somebody.
After 10 years,
let me tell you. And then I had heard this one girl. Lord Jesus, I felt so sorry for that girl. And I didn't know the girl like that. But she was going through, they was separated. She was so miserable, and she was young, but she was making good money. And because when she went to school to get her degree, they agreed that he would stay at home and like watch the kids and let her. And then she started working in her field, and they bought some properties. And again, it was just more beneficial for him to stay at home, take care of the kids, take care of the rental properties, stuff like that. But when shit got rocky, that man threatened to take her to court for child support. He was going to get custody of the kids. He was going to get child support. She was going to have to sell them rental properties, and she was going to have to pay him alimony and give him half of her 401k.
Were they married?
Yes.
They were married.
Check this out now. As a matter of fact, you seen her on the other day. She was in a situation where she wasn't married.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The dude was just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I think she filed him on her taxes. They broke up.
They lived together.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
He ended up getting alimony from her.
Wow. And they were not married.
They were not married.
Well,
But she filed him on the tax.
Well, and they lived together.
Yeah, common law.
Common law.
Yeah.
But I think they were together for like a year, 2 years.
Doesn't matter. I think common law is 90 days or something.
Y'all hear that?
It's
Y'all
real
hear
short.
that?
Yeah, common law.
Yeah, it's real short. Look it up,
See
people.
what I'm talking about? So,
Look it
and
up.
that's, you know,
That's kind of scary.
what I'm saying. That's that shit. Like, we came into this with good intentions, and that shit rocky, and you mean to tell me?
Yeah, but I mean, you could also get a prenup, right? So at this age, right?
Oh.
A prenup, even if y'all not even married?
No.
See, that common law shit, we from Chicago.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
We're not familiar with that shit.
Yeah,
like
but if you
Texas.
living with me and you're gonna live with me for longer than 3 months, yeah,
I
we're
would
gonna
say
prenup this.
go get
I
something
like that.
notarized. Go get something
Absolutely.
notarized.
So I got to get a prenup before, just to let them move in my
Just
house?
don't let them move in with
Don't
you.
let them move in if you don't want to get a
why
prenup.
are you doing that? Why
And
are
don't
they
file them
moving-
on your
just saying.
taxes.
I'm not doing any of that, but I'm still trying to protect myself.
Don't
Right.
move them in.
So go get something notarized. You got to have some type of agreement or understanding, right? I mean, in a perfect world,
Yeah.
you always want to assume that this person has your best interest in mind as well, right?
And they do until they get
Until-
mad.
Until they get mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen.
I'm just saying,
Listen.
that's when it hits the fan, right?
But hopefully I've seen you mad before I've invited you to live with me.
But still, you just
Right.
never know.
I want to see you through some seasons before we start cohabitating.
True.
And then if we're cohabitating, for me,
Prenup.
if we start to cohabitate, then shit, there's a marriage date already set.
Yeah.
I
You
ain't
know-
moving you in just to chill.
That was my second engagement.
Yeah.
And I had kind of seen some things, right? Like, and at that point, I had been in my house probably about 10 years. So I'm like, if I marry him and this don't work, I could see this nigga trying to take my house from me. Because he my husband. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, and let me tell you something. When I bought my house, my son was like 8. Like, I was struggling. That wasn't nothing but a blessing from God to get that house, right? So I'm like, we talking about 10 years of me struggling to keep this shit up and to let somebody come take this shit from me just on some spiteful shit. And that was another reason why we called this shit off. I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to do this shit. Like, I was looking at the Texas law, real estate law, and I said, I don't know about this.
Well, you got to be educated.
Them laws,
well,
you do.
You got to be educated.
You do.
Yeah.
Because things happen like that all the time.
So you got to be educated just to be in love.
I know, right?
Yeah,
What laws you dogs
but I
ain't
mean,
in
you
your
got to
house?
educate it to stay in love too, though, right?
Look, they
Look
can't
at
leave no toothbrushes at the house. Don't leave shit at my house. Hey. You left that house. Hold on. You down the street, come back. You left something. Leave shit at my house. What's going to go in the
you
trash?
you could just
Don't
throw it
get
away.
shit mailed to my house. No, you do not need my, what you need? What you haven't sent to my house? Don't send shit to my, I got a P.O. box. Send that shit to the
Send
P.O.
to the P.O. box. Not your
Because
house.
you're not going to be talking about, I live here and I can't put you out.
Well, but those are valid issues. That
Those
happens.
are valid issues.
That happens. When you
And
own a
I'm
home.
way too crazy for that shit. If you don't get out my house now, we not waiting for no police to come. Let it go. It's time for you to go. Bye.
You gonna have a new flower bed in the
Man,
backyard.
I'm a little too throwed off for that shit. It's time to go. Get your ass out.
Oh,
So
my
anyway,
gosh.
I'm sorry. I digress.
So,
Sound
would
like
you
you speaking from
guys
experience.
remarry? Would you remarry? Would you remarry?
I would, but it's in my search, Teresa, it has been challenging.
Oh, that's because this wonderful dating pool.
Oh, the
Statistics.
dating
Yeah,
pool.
yeah.
Yeah, it has been challenging.
Statistics say that 41% of first marriages end in divorce, and 72% of couples who remarry end up staying married. So it sounds like that there is something in marrying someone who has done it before.
Yeah.
And
Like
now
if I did it again, she would have to have been married before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because there's certain things that she got a glimpse of or wisp of that she knows that comes with this thing. It won't be just totally foreign to her.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not having certain conversations that, you know what I mean?
I had a conversation with somebody recently, I can't remember who, and they said that they met a chick and they were dating and everything was going good. But she said she could not marry him because he doesn't know how to be a husband. He was never married, and said he didn't know how to be a husband. And I'm sitting there like,
Well, how's he gonna find out?
exactly. So I
Is there a
I
husband
guess
school? Is there a school for husbands?
and and maybe, maybe this is me being naive, right? I just feel like, that's just like when they say your relationship is what the two people that's in that relationship make it. So I feel the same about your marriage. If we love each other and we're committed to this, then we're going to grow. We're not going to get it perfect. Even if I knew how to do this shit, even if I'd done it before,
Right.
that doesn't mean that I'm going to be a great wife to you, because I don't know what your expectations of a wife is, right? And so there are going to be some things that I'm going to do that you might be like, eh. So that's the part of learning and growing together.
Yeah.
But even in trying to be a husband, I really don't know what that will look like.
Yeah, I don't.
But I run across a lot of women who think they're great women.
Oh, do tell.
Great. Hold on. I'm gonna try to bail you out. Hold on. No. Stop, Teresa. We're not gonna do that. Good women, or they think they would be good wives? Because we talking about marriage here.
Pick
the women, no. We gonna let them believe that they're good women. I can't stop you from believing who you think you are.
This isn't about me. I'm just
No, not you.
No, I'm just saying.
Not you.
Right, I'm
But
just saying.
You trying to throw my man out the
No,
window,
I'm just asking
and I'm
for
trying to close the
clarification.
blinds.
I'm asking him to clarify. Do tell. So
I'm
so
just
what
saying. So the thing is that, and the same thing for a guy who thinks he's a great guy, right? Whatever those characteristics and habits that they form, I'm a lesbian, so I can only tell you what I experience when it comes to the women.
You're not a lesbian. You're not a lesbian, sir.
I love women, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
right? And so women that have the propensity to think that they're great women because they cook, clean, and
Okay,
all this other stuff,
specify.
right?
Specify.
Does not necessarily mean that you're great for me,
Yeah.
right? And I think along with P, the pool, and I run across a lot of great women.
So what are great women then if it's not the cooking, cleaning, So, what is a great woman in your eyes?
I'm glad you asked, right? A great woman would be a woman that would make
This is
me
a great
feel-
woman for you.
For me.
For
Yes.
you.
For
Yes.
me, right? That would make me feel safe.
Yes. Mm.
Which is kind of broad.
Well,
Right.
no. It's
He knows what makes.
I know
feel
what
safe.
makes me feel
Yeah.
safe,
And
right?
Well,
I,
you-
I picked up what you were putting down.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you do know that you would have to explain to her what that entails.
Well, yes. I
Because
do.
she could be like, oh, well, she could think
Or-
that she's doing something that, quote unquote, makes you feel safe. That's not what you need.
Right. But a lot of times too, right? When you're dating, you're looking for certain things, you know what you looking for.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, they say practice makes perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that whole thing of perfection and this whole dating, you would know what it is that you're looking for and
Yeah.
what you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I run across women who, they have certain characteristics, yes, I wish that I could build a woman together, right? Take something from every last one of them.
And I've
Can I say it out loud, Teresa?
I will not.
Okay.
What you got to say, Teresa?
I said, this nigga said, build a woman.
Anything wrong with that?
We are not a build-a-bear, sir.
And
These are
we are
human
not.
A little bit over here, a
Hold
little bit
on,
over there.
Hold on.
These
And
are
we're not.
human beings we talking about.
You all do the same thing to us as well.
No.
But
no,
what you
I
might
do
be
not.
able to do, is take a woman who has a good chunk of those qualities
Oh,
and teach
definitely.
her about the rest, right? Teach her what you need from her, and she may end up becoming that one that's got it all.
But I think in that search, a lot of times what I'm encountering is that a lot of women have. So you know how I'm always saying that, or a person always say they're a paycheck away from being homeless.
Mm-hmm,
I think there are some people that are a relationship away from being homicidal.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. That's a whole nother.
A paycheck away
Podcast.
from being
That's a whole-
homicidal.
Because they're carrying so many. Because they're carrying so many.
Yeah.
So
Bodies?
many.
What we saying?
So
Just
many
Hurt.
hurts and
anger,
Trauma.
Yes, trauma
trauma.
from
Yeah.
past relationships.
Yeah, no
Right.
facts. And so that's the other thing that I tell people too. In dating, you have to think about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because there could be one that's on her last motherfucking day, and she like, all right, play with me if you want to. I'm going to jail. Fuck
Yep.
it. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it made that pressure bust pipes.
Yes.
You don't know what they've been dealing with. Just because somebody running around with a smile on their face and you don't know. They
don't
might be on
know.
their last nerve. Like, listen, I don't even care no more.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna say this because we could keep going. So
Yeah.
we gonna have y'all back and tackle some more topics.
Oh
but
man, this was fun.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
definitely fun.
This was
thank
fun.
you guys for joining us. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go home and build a bear.
No, you died.
I am. Tonight.
Oh my God. She said tonight.
Put your wish list.
Hey, listen, it's your boy P, King to a God.
And your girl, Miss Nick. Thank y'all for tuning in. Go make sure y'all go follow us out there on social media. Miss Nick at Night on all platforms.
It's the real P.I.G. Eliminate TikTok, Instagram. Like, follow, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes, absolutely. See y'all next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye. This
Take
was
care.
fun.